Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and things are getting a little testy, even among fellow travelers on the left. Katie Tur, she's one of the fungible hosts on MSNBC.
She used to date Keith Olbermann.
Yeah, she did. I'm sorry that didn't work out for those two.
I was pulling for them.
She had Andy Slavitt, a former Obama administration health official, and Craig Fugate, who's a former head of FEMA under President Obama. So two Obama-era officials on the show to talk about the federal response and to propagate Chinese propaganda. And then this happened.
We have masks. We have a lot of these things. Guess where they are? They're sitting in the supply chain. People are profiteering off of them, or they're going to places where people are hoarding them. Now, that happens in a crisis. It's only by someone looking through the entire system and seeing where those needs are that you can say, stop hoarding them all in Texas. We need them in New York right now while we build manufacturing capability and put them in Texas. So what your other guest is suggesting here is not helpful. We need a great partnership between the federal and state government. People.
Craig, you want to sit down and respond to this?
No, he doesn't.
Nope, he's left the building.
I guess Craig has left.
Fugate went full Elvis. Yeah, he's gone. They later apologized to one another on Twitter, which was nice. But the disagreement was Slavitt getting hysterical about the federal response, while Fugate, actually an expert, FEMA director, was saying, state and local is important too, which this is this running argument about all roads must travel through Washington, D.C., rather than a recognition of how our federalist representative republic works. So the misreporting in this area, too. President Trump says, governors, you're on your own. Not what he said.
No.
He said, here's the things that we're going to do, and here's how we're going to help. And, of course, governors like Cuomo and Newsom have backed up what President Trump has said, but that's underreported by those Chinese propaganda fronts like MSNBC. It's not what he said. He said, going to back them. But if you have access at the local level, you're not helpless. You big state governors and governors generally, you're not helpless. If you have access to supplies, if you have other avenues to obtain needed supplies, then use them. And that's reported as governors, you're on your own. It's just really...
it's sickening at this day.
And it's delegitimizing. And it's delegitimizing, but it is remarkable, again, to see how little concern the D.C. press corps has for their legitimacy, because for them, all roads lead to November and the de-election of President Trump, not providing value-added information to the public about this virus and the public health and economic health implications, as we were discussing earlier with Selena Zito. Now we pick up that discussion with John Nolte, who's editor-at-large at Breitbart. John, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for asking me on.
Yeah, of course. You put together a nice compendium, too, of myriad examples of press reporting of the kind that we were just talking about, things that they know are not true, and it just doesn't matter, as well as their obsessions for things that very few people care about other than them, which is, for example, the terminology used to reference the virus.
Yeah, we have a very unserious media during very serious times. And you're right. That's a great word you're using. They continue to delegitimize themselves. If you compare the media coverage to Trump's approval ratings, which are now in the 50s, in at least 3 polls for his handling of this, you can see that the media is not reporting the news. They're not reflecting what's happening. They're just reflecting their own neuroses. And the lies that they are telling, and these are deliberate lies, to hurt, to undermine, and I'll give you a good example. On CNN a couple of days ago, Jake Tapper, who is one of the great serial liars in the media, was angry. He was talking with Dr. Sanjay Gupta. And Sanjay Gupta went on the Colbert Show to lie about Trump not accepting those WHO tests, which we now know was a lie.
Biden said the same thing, yeah.
So Sanjay Gupta and Jake Tapper are on CNN, and they're wringing their hands because nobody in San Francisco is honoring the quarantine. They're out walking around, and Jake Tapper's using the word enraged. Why aren't they listening to the president? And I'm thinking, you two idiots just spent 4 years turning him into President Hitler. You just spent 4 years telling us he was a Russian spy and a Nazi and a liar and a Klansman. Why would a bunch of leftists in San Francisco trust him?
Oh,
it's
that's
not
right.
even Trump's order; it's the governor of California's order, and the mayor of San Francisco.
Well, federal guidelines, but I mean,
Right.
but this is perfect too, right? It's another example. One of my favorite this week. I was just talking about our federalist system. Trump is a dictator or a wannabe dictator for 3 years. Then during the pandemic, Trump is not acting enough like a dictator.
Yeah, and that's what they want to do to him. And they're pretending we're still in 2016. We're not in 2016 anymore. We are in a world where we don't know what the world's going to look like a week from now. Yep. And they still want to pretend it's 2016, where they can play their little game where Trump can do nothing right and Joe Biden can do nothing wrong. And I just want to just try to imagine the number of infected in this country, the number of dead in this country under President Joe Biden, who would not have closed our borders, who would have allowed thousands of people from China to seed coronavirus all throughout our country. But the media they are stuck in a bubble, and they are going to implode. They're going to self-destruct. And they have to be looking at these approval numbers. Trump at 56, 58%, and they're dumbfounded. How can this be true? We're pounding this guy 24/7. Well, that's because no one's listening to you anymore.
I wanted to get your reaction to this controversy surrounding two Republican senators, Kelly Loeffler of Georgia and Richard Burr in North Carolina, doing a lot of market maneuvers after briefings about coronavirus, moving a lot of money, particularly for Richard Burr from North Carolina, who is not a wealthy person the way that Loeffler is, and also talked about what he knew about the coronavirus, at least per a briefing at a fundraiser towards the end of February, and then moved a large position in the stock market over multiple transactions, particularly relative to his net worth. Now, there is technically laws against insider trading against senators. Loeffler, I think, has an important point to distinguish the two cases, then get your reaction. Her portfolio is managed by a third party that makes independent decisions, not excluding her as well as her husband. So essentially, putting assets in trust is effectively what that is. So that's different. Burr has not claimed that that's the case. He's essentially conceded the point that he directed these transactions, and if he did, then that's a real problem. At minimum, it looks like the appearance of a conflict of interest. And, you can't unknow or unhear what you heard. And he had this briefing. He made these statements. He made those transactions. To me, at first blush, Berg's got a problem.
Yeah, he's my senator. We have a Democrat governor, so if he resigns, we're going to get a Democrat senator. And if this is all true, he needs to resign. But I like the caution in your voice, and I want to amplify that. During times like these, people shoot without aiming a lot. And he deserves due process. We should hear him out. Same with the other senators. Feinstein also moved some money. She says she has a blind trust. If that's the case, fine. But we need to know that they weren't talking to the blind trust. They weren't wink, wink, nod, nodding. Because if you're profiting off something like this and you're a senator, you need to go to prison. But there needs to be due process here. Everybody deserves a fair hearing. But if he's guilty, if Burr did this, I don't care if he gets replaced by a Democrat. He's got to go.
Absolutely. No, I agree. So, let it play out. He basically, his response this morning on Twitter was, this is like a media hit job. Well, that's all well and good, but the question still stands. Did you direct these transactions after you had those briefings that only, the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee would get? Right. And so, whether you say it informed those decisions or not, it was on point. So you're sort of in a corner if there's not an alternative explanation.
it's laughable for a never Trump senator to try and hide behind media hit job as though we're all going to go, oh yeah, the media is evil. I mean, this guy has been a thorn in the side of decency for the last 3 years, pushing the Russia collusion hoax, pushing all of this nonsense against Trump, and now he's going to try a Trumpian move, and Trump never would have done this.
Well,
he never would have done this.
Since you're in North Carolina, it's just the variance between states, among the states, in terms of reactions. What is the state of the situation on the ground in North Carolina?
Yeah. What's your new normal?
And also, what's your perspective on it? As you see Gavin Newsom in Pennsylvania, Gavin Newsom in California, and Richard Wolf in Pennsylvania do one thing, and other governors do something else.
Well, here I think we've had 3 cases in my town. We have a little college town of about, there's about 20,000 people. Doctors are meeting us at the door, making sure no one should go in. Like my wife, she had to go in on her own the other day because they don't want me going in for obvious reasons. I was in Walmart the other day. Meat is running out. Toilet paper and cleaning supplies gone. Canned goods almost gone, except stuff nobody wants to eat, like red beans. But overall, I'm not seeing anything close to panic. I'm not. People are just being cautious. They're being smart about it.
Are your restaurants open?
No, they're all on. They're doing takeout or they're closed. And I'm just hoping everybody here adopts a local restaurant. I know my wife and I have. And so it is, but there's no panic. Everybody's just being cautious. As far as what they're doing in California and in Pennsylvania, I'm not let me say this to open with. If they have a quarantine here in North Carolina, I'm going to honor it. I have questions. I have questions about all of this. I want to see what the outcome is, but I'm going to honor the quarantine. I'm not going to take a chance. That's just the world we live in now. And I'm not a doctor, so this is just my opinion, but so California quarantines for 2 weeks, and then they lift the quarantine, they're going to still allow all these people in, not just from south of the border, but from other states. So I'm just wondering, again, I'm not a doctor, I don't know, but I'm just wondering how this works without a nationwide quarantine. And I think everybody should be preparing for a nationwide 2-week quarantine. I think everybody should definitely be preparing for that.
Oh, boy. John Nolte, editor-at-large at Breitbart. John, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate. Oh, by the way, Tom Wolf, governor of Pennsylvania. I think I said Dick Wolf, who is the creator of Law and Order.
Yes.
So that distinguishes the two. John, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.
And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results vary. Exclusions apply.
Contacts and glasses are such a hassle. I'd love to finally get LASIK, but
I'm going to stop you right there. If you want LASIK, then the LASIK Vision Institute has officially taken away everything standing in your way.
Isn't LASIK expensive?
Not at the LASIK Vision Institute. We're offering dramatically low prices, as low as $220 per eye, and an absolutely free consultation. See for free if LASIK is right for you by texting LIKE to 350350.
But I'm really busy.
A text only takes seconds. The LASIK procedure typically only takes 15 minutes, and most patients can get back to work the following day. The LASIK Vision Institute uses the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision for as little as $220 per eye. Dr. Greenberg has performed 75,000 laser eye surgeries and is one of the most experienced LASIK surgeons in Chicago.
What's that text again?
Text LIKE to 350350. That's LIKE to 350350 to schedule your free consultation today.
Oh, now is the time, folks, to go to balanceofnature.com and get yourself some fruits and veggies. I just had mine. I take 6 capsules a day, and that gives you 10 servings of 31 different fruits and veggies. Why do I do it? Well, I want to boost my immune system so that I don't get the common cold or the flu. That's very important, especially during these